evening, everyone. Am I audible to all of you? So, today we are going to start with history and important areas for your UPSC prelims examination. So, today we will be starting with history. How many of you have already completed the revision of ancient history? कितने लोगों ने ancient history का revision complete कर लिया है? अभी किसी ने complete नहीं किया revision? Okay. So, from the perspective of prelims examination, from the perspective of prelims. So try to understand the important areas. So what can be the important areas with respect to ancient India in prelims examination? So the first of all, the most important thing is the important features of IVC as well as sites. Then second important thing here is literature, ancient literature. एंड स्पेशली सबसे ज़्यादा फोकस होता है लिटरेचर में बुद्धिज्म एंड जैनिज्म पे. बुद्धिज्म एंड जैनिज्म. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस, coins, history of coins is also very important. Okay. Then, with respect to this, important ports, port cities of ancient. And then it comes the philosophies or religion, Buddhism and Jainism. So from Buddhism and Jainism, they actually ask important philosophies. So these are some important areas with respect to ancient history. Now, from the perspective of Mauryan Empire, IVC means Indus Valley Civilization. Clear, Tanvi? Okay. Now, apart from this administrative structure of Mauryans and Guptas. Mauryans and Guptas से अगर पूछेंगे, they will ask administrative structure plus literature. Okay. So these are some important areas with respect to these topics. Okay. If the question will come, certainly they will ask question from these areas. But there are some miscellaneous things which they can ask, like important keywords from NCERT. NCERT से keywords आ सकते हैं. So a list of keywords from NCERT from ancient and medieval India will be shared with you by tomorrow or day after, so that you can go through all those keywords, factual information. Okay, that will be helpful for you in the prelims examination. So today, first of all, we are going to start with the ancient history and important topics, important sub areas. Okay, see, Stone Age जो time period है, that is least important. Okay, Stone Age is least important. Why Stone Age is least important? Because if you go through the last 15-year papers, they have asked only a single question. So how to study Stone Age? Okay, in Stone Age, just go through important sites and their present location or model location. Okay, only this much is the relevance of Stone Age. Apart from this, IVC is important. Okay, IVC is important. Indus Valley Civilization. If you see IVC, so IVC period starts from 2900 BC and it will be there till 1500 BC. This timeline is as per the Archaeological Survey of India, not as per your books. Clear? Okay. Now, first of all, try to understand IVC is considered as Harappan civilization also. Why? Because Harappa was the first discovered site. Okay, and it was discovered in 1921 by Dayaram Sani. Then, second site which was discovered was Mohenjo-daro by R.D. Banerjee. Now, most of the sites which are found in IVC, so most of the sites are on Indus and its tributaries. That is why it is called as Indus Valley Civilization. Now, what is the background? What is the background for IVC? How IVC was created? Any idea? What is the background of IVC? Railway. Through railways, excavation of IVC was started. I'm asking how it was created. See, if you are able to connect from Stone Age. So in Paleolithic period, humans used to live on hills and caves. Gradually, there was change in climate. Now, change in climate resulted into the increase in population also. So when population got increased, people came down and they started residing nearby rivers. Yes. Nearby rivers. तो लोग अब नदियों के पास रहने लगे. Okay? When people started residing nearby rivers, then in Neolithic period, they started agriculture, beginning of agriculture or beginning of farming. Now, for the first time, farming was started in Mehergarh area. Mehergarh, in which region? Baluchistan. Baluchistan region, which is on Indus only. So this has created the background for IVC, that in Indus area, first time farming was started. And finally, after Neolithic, in northwestern area, directly Harappan age came. No Chalcolithic, directly Harappan age. तो इसी के बाद आप देखेंगे डायरेक्टली प्री हरप्पन एज स्टार्टेड. प्री हरप्पन age from 3300 BC to 2900 BC, and then sites were established, and from 2900 BC till 1500 BC IVC was started. Clear, everyone? This is how the background was laid down for Indus Valley civilization. Clear? Okay. So you can draw this because this will help you too in revision. So IVC's features are important. Now, what are the important features of IVC? Who is going to tell important features of IVC? What are the important features of IVC? Drainage pattern, planned cities. Okay. Now, the first important feature is town planning. Okay. So generally the towns were created or divided into two parts. That is upper town and lower town. Upper town was in west, lower town in the east directly. Upper town was created on upraised bluff. थोड़ा ऊंचाई पर बना होता था. It was fortified also, so that common people cannot enter in upper town. Lower town inhabited by commoners. And it is on lower platform. Okay, town planning. Yes, काफी सारे लोगों ने आंसर दे दिया है. Okay. So, upper town was actually inhabited by the rich merchants, administrative people. All these things were there. There was one town which was divided into three parts called as Dholavira. Dholavira was the town which was divided into three parts. Okay. Dholavira divided into three parts. Yes. Small, middle, and upper town. Now, there was one town which did not have citadel or upper town. That is Chanhudro. Chanhudro was a town without citadel. Town without citadel or upper town. This was just clear to all of you. Okay. ये याद रखिए. Yes, only working class. There was no ruling class. Okay. Now try to understand. They can ask a question. For example, first statement, gypsum coating was used. Now, I have one question. That gypsum coating was used in IVC. Whether the statement is correct? Okay. Where it was used? कहाँ पे यूज किया जाता था जिप्सम कोटिंग को? No, not Great Bath. Gypsum coating was used in site drainage. समझ में आ रहा है? Now try to understand because drainage pattern was like this. So drainage system was covered with a brick or you can say stone slab, and inside this drainage there was gypsum coating. Now what is the relevance of gypsum coating? Any idea? What was the relevance of gypsum coating? No. Gypsum coating was used to filtering the waste. Filter the waste and recharging the ground with water. Recharging ground with water. That is the relevance of gypsum coating. Clear, everyone? In exam, these kind of things can be asked. Okay. Now, apart from this, what are the different types of burial system in IVC? अब IVC में burial system क्या थे? Burial system. Priyanka, see, all different burials were pit system only. But what are the important features of burial system or different forms of burial system? No, friend, I am not asking about the features. I'm asking about different forms of burial system. Try to understand my question, what I'm asking. Different forms of burial system. No, that is also wrong. See, in Harappa, we found R37 cemetery. Okay. Now, why this R37 cemetery is important? Here we found one coffin burial. One coffin burial. Clear? This was the unique feature of Harappa. Another burial system of Harappa was extended burial. Tell me, what is extended burial? What is extended burial? Even today also we follow some of the traditions of IVC which was there in extended burial. Like in this, extended burial का मतलब होता है body put straight on back along with some pots because they had a belief in life after death. So body used to put straight on back, and almost all the bodies were put in the north to south direction. Head in the north, legs are in the south. Even usually during the time of sleep, we follow the same position. Clear or not? That is called as extended burial. समझ में आया extended burial सभी को? See, extended burial का मतलब होता है the body will be put straight on back direction. Even during the time period of sleep, also we follow the same direction routine. Clear now? Prerna, clear? Okay. Apart from this, there was symbolic burial. Symbolic burial. Now, what is symbolic burial? बताइए, what is symbolic burial? Now, symbolic burial was found in Kalibangan. Remember this thing. Kalibangan, Rajasthan. Now, symbolic burial, not as per classes. Symbolic burial का मतलब होता है here we found a grave. यहाँ पर हमें grave तो मिली है, but yes, does not contain any skeletons. Clear? No bodies. Now, historians they say that either we are unable to recover the body or these kind of graves may be created in the honor of someone. समझ में आ रहा है? ये आपको किसी को ऑनर करने के लिए बनाई गई हैं और we are unable to recover the bodies. Clear everyone? This is called as symbolic burial. Another form, lothal burial. Lothal burial. Now, here we found three twin burials. Three twin burials. That means in one burial, two bodies are there, two skeletons are there. Right? Many historians they call it as sati system. Sati system तो तब होगा that whenever husband dies, the wife has to perform sati. But we did not have any evidence that during this time period sati system was there. For the first time, sati system came during the time period of Guptas. Okay? And with skeletons, we cannot categorize the gender also. Clear? So one thing is clear. that two bodies were there in one grave. That is why it is called as three twin burials. Clear? This much is clear to all of you. Types of burial system समझ में आ गया IVC का. Now, what is the uniqueness of Kalibangan? What is the uniqueness of Kalibangan? Now, first of all, Kalibangan was situated on the banks of river Saraswati. River Saraswati. Okay. Now, in Kalibangan, we found field with plow marks. Field with plow marks. That is the uniqueness. Okay. Here we found field with plow marks. Okay. Now, tell me whether these plow marks are horizontal or vertical. बताइए जो हमें plow marks मिले हैं. Yes, Prerna, plow was not found, but plow marks are there. Okay. So my question here is whether those plow marks were horizontal or vertical. Because in this way UPSC asks question. That is vertical, okay. Horizontal, okay. The plow marks both horizontal as well as vertical. ये याद रखिएगा. Plow marks दोनों हैं वहां पर. Vertical as well as horizontal. Okay. This much is clear to all of you. Now my question here is, whenever vertical and horizontal plow marks both are there in the field, it represents what kind of cropping? It is there in the geography also. बताइए. It represents what kind of cropping system? Tell me, what kind of cropping system is this? नहीं पता. Not shifting cultivation. It is called as double crop method. Double crop method. And because of this, IVC people are considered as scientific in nature. That means IVC people had the knowledge that two crops कौन से होंगे which are compatible in nature, जिनको साथ में sow किया जा सकता है, cultivate किया जा सकता है. That means IVC people had the knowledge about the two crops together should be compatible. That is called as scientific evidences. Clear? Another important thing that UPSC can ask, which marks are broader? So as you can see on your screen, I have made vertical marks broader than horizontal marks. So UPSC believes in observation technique. Clear? So as you can see in the diagram, if UPSC asks, vertical marks were broader and horizontal marks were narrower. So that is also correct. Clear? This part is clear to all of you. Okay, so all of you please draw these things because these are some important concepts. Once you understand these concepts, no need to mug up the things from IVC period. Okay. Now, with respect to economic life. Now, what was the economic life in IVC period? बताइए. What was the most important part of economy? Barter system is the medium of exchange. Okay. It is the medium of exchange. Indigo कहाँ से आ जाएगा निहाल? I'm asking about IVC, not about this. Britishers. Economic life, agriculture was the most important part of economy. Now, like for example, in North India, two important crops were prevalent, wheat and barley. In South India, ragi, then sesamum, then apart from sesamum, chickpea, ox gram. Nihal, in Mohenjo-daro, see, indigo was not the main crop. The main crop was wheat and barley. Though ragi, sesamum, all these crops are there, but these are not main crops. Main crops were wheat and barley through which this civilization was created. And another important crop was cotton. Clear? मतलब हमें वो क्रॉप पता होना चाहिए जिसकी वजह से सिविलाइजेशन बन रही है. Okay? Now, so these were the things. Now, apart from this, maize was not known to IVC people. Maize not known to IVC. Maize के बारे में उन्हें पता ही नहीं था. Because maize as a crop was introduced from South America during the time period of Jahangir. Maize, potato, tobacco, all these crops came from America. Well, cotton was there. Okay, cotton was there. Now, do you think whether there was evidence of malnutrition in IVC? Malnutrition का evidence है IVC में कि नहीं है? No. Why? Tanvi, yes, okay. Prerna, why no evidence of malnutrition? Sylvia, why no evidence of malnutrition? On what basis we say that there was malnutrition or no malnutrition? They had granary, which means they had abundant food in quantity. Very good, Tanvi. Due to skeletal remains. The latest site which got discovered in 2019, that is Rakhi Kadai, and the skeletons which we found till now, all skeletons show the well-being. That means there was no evidence of malnutrition and non-vegetarian diet was there in IVC period. Clear? So remember this thing. Now in India, gold was not available. So three important trading partners were there: Mesopotamia, Dilmun, and Makan Coast. Makan. Mesopotamia, present day it is called as Iraq, Baghdad region. Dilmun, Bahri, Makan, present day it is called as Oman country. From Mesopotamia, IVC people used to get silver in return in exchange of trade. From Bahrain, they used to get gold. From Oman, they used to get gold. Then from Afghanistan, IVC people used to get tin. That is why IVC people, copper plus tin became bronze. Clear? That is alloy. Now, there are two important sites which are recently in the news also with respect to IVC. कौन सी site थी? Altin Depe and Tepe Yahaya. Here, two important sites. Tepe Yahaya from Iran region, Altin Depe, Turkmenistan, which represents the trade and commerce between IVC and these sites. Now, IVC people were called as Meluha. Harappan civilization was called as Meluha. IVC के लोगों को कहा जाता था Meluha by the foreign civilization people. Okay, and the people who resides near the Sindh area and who used to produce the cotton. Cotton in IVC period was called as Sindan. That means a crop which produced in Sindh Valley. A crop which got produced in Sindh Valley. So cotton को क्या कहा जाता था? Sindan कहा जाता. This much is clear to all of you. Apart from metals, IVC people used to get semi-precious stones like lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli. Now, lapis lazuli, IVC people used to get from Afghanistan. Now, certain precious stones are always found in mines. What was the name of the mines? And in which place of Afghanistan they used to get this lapis lazuli? Any idea? Shortugani. The name of the area in Afghanistan was Shortugani. Present day it is called as Kabul. And the name of the mines are Badakhshan mines. Clear everyone? इतना समझ में आया सभी को? प्रेरणा, खेतरी is related to copper in Rajasthan. Okay, खेतरी is related to copper in Rajasthan, not related to lapis lazuli. Shortugani is the name of the Kabul, ancient time. And in Shortugani, there was mines called as Badakhshan mines. And from these mines, IVC people used to get lapis lazuli, a semi-precious stone. So these are the things which you should know for IVC. So try to focus on concepts and then there will be no need to mug up each and everything. Okay. Now, apart from this, from ancient India, the most important topics are Jainism and Buddhism. Now, when we talk about Jainism and Buddhism, now, first of all, why these two religions came into the picture? बताइए, ये दोनों religion क्यों आए? Why these two religions came into the picture? Minority, because of Mahavira, to eradicate caste system. There was no caste system Uzma at that time. There was only Varna system. बताइए, why these two religions came into the picture? Discrimination, to overcome the meaningless rituals of Brahmins. Okay, then because of domination of Brahmins. और क्या हो सकता है? caste system became rigid. वेदांत अब भी मैंने कहा कि there was no caste system. Caste system was started during the time period of Guptas. Life teachings. Then apart from this, उसके अलावा post Vedic period there was disputes, wealth dispute. Could you please elaborate this, Damini? What kind of wealth dispute? Degrading situation of women. Okay. What is about this wealth dispute? Wealth dispute क्या था? Nitish, complex rituals. Okay. See, in later Vedic period, there were 4 Varnas. You know? 4 Varnas were there. That is Brahmins, then Kshatriyas, then Vaishyas, and Shudras. Now, Brahmins and Kshatriyas, they were exempted from taxes. Exempted from taxes. Vaishyas had to pay tax. Vaishyas को tax pay करना होता था. Shudras, they were just the working class. They had to serve other 3 Varnas. So Vaishyas, they used to pay the taxes, but they did not have any right. समझ में आ रहा है? सारा टैक्स सोसाइटी में यही पे कर रहे थे, बट इनके पास कोई भी, याद रखिएगा, राइट नहीं था. क्लियर? तो अब याद रखिएगा, तो जब ये टैक्स पे कर रहे हैं, इनके पास कोई राइट नहीं. और जो अपर 2 Varnas है, दे आर नॉट पेइंग टैक्स, बट दे हैव ऑल द राइट्स, ऑल द अथॉरिटीज. बिकॉज ऑफ दिस Vaishyas were dissatisfied. On the top of that, because of animal sacrifice, like mostly horse sacrifice, Ashwamedh sacrifice used to be there. So Brahmins used to kill the horse in the name of Ashwamedh sacrifice, and horses were the vehicles for Vaishyas for trade and commerce. So this was against the trade ethics. That is why when Buddha and Mahavira came, they gave their first principle non-violence, non-killing of animals, कि कोई भी जानवरों को नहीं मार. And in this way, Vaishyas, Shudras, they have adopted Buddhism and Jainism. Clear, everyone? That why Jainism came? In this way, people adopted Buddhism and Jainism. तो ये याद रखिएगा, है ना? Now Brahmins used to say that conquer more area to the king. Trading class never wanted war because it hampered, war always hampered trade and commerce. That is why the trading class were against the Brahmins. Yes, Sanjana, Mahavir and Buddha was themselves Kshatriya, but during the time period of later Vedic period, है ना, जब later Vedic period खत्म हो रहा था, there was conflict started between Kshatriyas and Brahmins also regarding the supremacy in society. Kshatriyas used to say, we are superior than Brahmins. Why? Because we protect the society. So this was also one of the reasons. Clear, Sanjana? Okay. So remember this thing. This is one of the most important reasons for the origin of Buddhism and Jainism. Okay. Now, if I ask you, when we talk about Buddhism and Jainism, so the most important thing in Buddhism and Jainism regarding the policies, है ना? तो अब policies or you can say philosophies are very important. Okay, with respect to Jainism and Buddhism, sect are important as well as philosophies are important. Now, what is the philosophy of Buddhism? कौन बताएगा? What is the philosophy of Buddhism? बताइए. Who is the founder of Buddhism? First of all, Siddhartha Gautam. है ना? Siddhartha Gautam is the founder of Buddhism, and he was born in 563 BC and he died in 483 BC. है ना? He was born in Lumbini and died in Kushinagar area of UP. Okay. His father was Shuddhodhan, who belonged to the Republican kingdom. Kapil Vastu, है ना? Now, his mother was Mahamaya Devi. Mahamaya Devi, his mother Mahamaya belonged to कोशला महाजनपद. कोशला एक महाजनपद था, उससे बिलोंग करती थी सिद्धार्थ की मदर. His varna was Kshatriya and his clan was Shakya. That is why he is also called as Shakya Muni. Okay. His kingdom was Kapil Vastu. And at an early age, सिद्धार्थ गॉट मैरिड टू यशोधरा, है ना, उनकी शादी यशोधरा से हो गई थी, एंड विद whom he had a son called as Rao. तो अब हुआ ये, बिफोर द बर्थ ऑफ बुद्धा वन ब्राह्मण came in the court of शुद्धोधन, और उसने कहा, उस ब्राह्मण ने कहा, either your son will become a great चक्रवर्ती or he will become a great saint. अब इसी चीज को सुनकर शुद्धोधन बहुत ही विचलित हो गए कि हमारा बेटा कहीं संत ना बन जाए, संत महात्मा, तो ये किंगडम कौन संभालेगा। इसीलिए शुद्धोधन ने कभी बुद्धा को बाहर जाने ही नहीं दिया, हमेशा पैलेस के अंदर रखा। कब हुआ ये, वन डे, सिंस चाइल्डहुड सिद्धार्थ वाज क्यूरियस, सो वन डे सिद्धार्थ लेफ्ट हिज पैलेस and he just went into his kingdom, and then he saw four events. First he saw an old man. तब मन में विचार आया कि ये बुढ़ापा क्या है। Then he saw a sick person, एक बीमार आ, ये बीमारी क्या है। Then he saw a dead body, ये मृत्यु क्या होता है। फिर धीरे धीरे उनको समझ में आएगा कि मृत्यु भी इस जीवन का सत्य है। And then he saw a monk, a hermit person who was in meditation, and while in meditation he was having a soft smile on his face. There he became more curious कि ये इंसान आंखें बंद करके मेडिटेशन करके इतना खुश कैसे। Now Siddharth wanted to learn the messages of life, कि what is the purpose of life, इस जिंदगी का पर्पस क्या है, what is death, है ना, what is asceticism, इन सभी चीजों को जानने के लिए he left his palace at the age of 29. So Buddha, or you can say Siddhartha, so he left his palace at the age of 29, and the moment he left his palace he came to be called as परिवार अजक। ये ऑलरेडी यूपीएससी ने पूछ लिया आपसे 23 में, परिवार अजक। The moment he left his palace, he came to be called as परिवार अजक। परिवार अजक means homeless wanderer. समझ में आ रहा है? It is called as homeless wanderer. Now, up. So from there, so when he left his palace, first he went to Sarnath. In Sarnath, he met with group of Brahmins. Group of Brahmins से मिले, and there he got his guru अलारा कलमा, जिनसे बुद्धा ने मेडिटेशन सीखा, है ना। तो अब उन ब्राह्मण ने कहा कि तुम 10 दिन तक कुछ नहीं खाना है, बिकॉज यू हैव टू कंट्रोल योर सेंसेस, अपनी इंद्रियों पर काबू रखना है, भूख लगेगी बट उसको सप्रेस करना है। बट आफ्टर 5 days he had something, he drank milk and all, so Brahmins left him, and he was not satisfied with the answers of the Brahmins. So then he reached Bodh Gaya, and when he reached Bodh Gaya, there he started the meditation, and continuously on 49 days, so at the midnight of 49 day, he received enlightenment. तब उनको enlightenment मिला. So in Siddharth, he started to wander at the age of 35. Then he reached to the village of Uruvela in Bodh Gaya, where on the banks of Niranjana river, है ना, जिसको आज हम फाल्गु रिवर बोलते हैं, under a people tree, जिसको आज हम बोलते हैं बोधि ट्री, है ना, under a people tree he started to meditation. So in the midnight of 49th day, Siddharth achieved nirvana. That means nirvana का मतलब क्या है? Extinguishment of the flame of desire. अपनी desire को suppress करना सीख गए. Clear? And then he came to be called as Buddha. Buddha means awakened one. Buddha means awakened one. So the journey of Siddharth turned into Buddha. Siddharth became Buddha. So after achieving nirvana, the followers of Siddharth came to be called him as Buddha. When a Buddha means awakened. अब जो लोग आपके अगेंस्ट में है कि आप यूपीएससी नहीं निकाल पाएंगे, जिस दिन निकाल लोगे उस दिन सबसे पहले उन्हीं लोगों से मिलोगे. Similarly, the Brahmins who left him in Sarnath So after achieving Nirvana, Buddha visited Sarnath first, where he gave sermons. First sermon दिया सारनाथ, है ना? That is four noble truth to his 5 disciples. अपने 5 शिष्यों को आर्य सत्य के बारे में बताया. Clear? Now, what are core noble truth? First is dukha. World is full of sorrow. Life is full of sorrow. Clear? Life is full of misery. फिर उनके शिष्य ने उनसे पूछा कि कारण क्या है सौरो का, दुख का कारण क्या है? तो उन्होंने कहा देयर आर कॉजेज ऑफ सौरो, दैट इज डिजायर. कि हर इंसान के अंदर डिजायर है, हर इंसान के अंदर जलन की भावना है. इग्नोरेंट है इंसान. इंसान अपनी खुशी मटीरियलिस्टिक चीजों में ढूंढ रहा, जबकि असल खुशी ये नहीं है. तो फिर उनके शिष्यों ने पूछा कि हाउ टू ओवरकम विद दीज सॉरोज, जिसको कहा जाता है दुख समुदाय और दुख निरोध. दुख निरोध. तो सिद्धार्थ ने कहा, तो बुद्धा ने कहा द ओनली थिंग इज निर्वाण. तब उनके शिष्य ने पूछा कि निर्वाण को कैसे अडॉप्ट किया जाए. तब उन्होंने 4th नोबल ट्रूथ बताया. देयर इज अ पाथ विच इज कॉल्ड एज अष्टांगिका मार्ग, 8-fold path. Clear everyone? Right conduct, right means of livelihood, right exercise, right meditation, right concentration, right awareness about oneself, है ना? Right vision, right speech, ये सारी चीजें. Clear everyone? समझ में आ गया पूरी कहानी बुद्धिज्म की? And then he gave his life in preaching his ideas as teachings, and at the age of 80 he died in Kushinagar. Clear? इतना सभी को समझ में आ गया? Okay.